Hello guys, today I'm going to tell you guys about my experience studying at UAL London. I studied at Camberwell College and my program was illustration, and I was doing an exchange program and I come from Vancouver, Canada. I was studying at Emily Carr in my third year and I exchanged here at the second year because the years didn't match. So in UAL, the maximum level of study, the final level of study is third year. So it'll be first, second, third. And the year before the first year is like the preparatory year. I guess I don't know. I'm not a full-time student here, so I don't know, but I think it's like the year when you dip your toes in to see if this school is the right one for you. So it kind of prepares you for the whole the whole school year, the whole school 3 years. So I'm just gonna tell you guys about my experience and if I would recommend it. So I purposely chose the spring term for my exchange because the fall term, the term dates between my home school and UAL doesn't really match. So I had to choose the spring term because that would allow me to have some overlap, but then that overlap would happen during this summer break, so there wouldn't be an issue. Whereas if I chose a fall term, I wouldn't be able to finish my studies in UAL because the fall term would be happening in my home school and I have to return back without actually finishing the spring term would be happening in my home school, so I would not be able to finish my spring term. So that's why I chose I would have to leave the school prematurely because the spring term in my home school will be starting when this fall term hasn't finished yet. So I didn't want to do that. So I purposely chose the spring term. So the term date was from January 25th to June 20th. At least that's what my dorm duration was. So I came here as soon as I could because I didn't want to. I already paid for my mom paid for it, but the payment was already done for the dorm, so I didn't want to come in late, like last minute, because I paid for the whole duration. I'm gonna stay for the whole duration and look at London. So the duration that I stayed in London for was January 24th to June 20th, so about like 5 months. But the catch is that the actual class, the course, was around if you match it all together, it was like around 2 months of study. That's like, what is that? Because the actual class didn't start until February, the second week of February, and then the very last of it was like the third week of May. And in between that, there was like a 2.5 week break. We were just it was like a mini break. I don't know why. So the actual learning process was very limited. And even during the teaching weeks, the actual time that I only had to go to class was 3 times a week. And even those moments, even the days that I went to class, the class usually was maximum 2 hours or 3 hours. And I'm used to, if I have a studio class, I'm used to having 6-hour classes in Vancouver. So this was very new to me. But also at the same time, I get freedom. So I get to do whatever I want. And especially because I'm in London, I can look whatever I want and a lot of things to do, touristy things, So in terms of learning, there was not much there. The actual class, because I studied illustration, the actual class went like this. So during the first week, we would all come into this big lecture hall and the instructors would tell us about the assignment and we would have 3 weeks to complete it. So it wouldn't be mini assignments here and there. It would be just one big assignment for each unit. And for the whole semester, the whole duration I stayed here for, I went through 2 units. So in total, 2 assignments I did for the duration of 5 months. But the real teaching duration was 2 months, so I guess in 2 months I created 2 works. After the first introduction, we were kind of expected to solve progress and get things started on our own. a lot of the things are like, oh, we are gonna put it on your imagination. So however you interpret it, however you interpret the prompt, it's dependent on your imagination and your creativity. So it's not very much like, oh, you need to learn this to go into this industry. Like, it's not that practical. It's more like artistic. Oh, you can interpret this how you can experiment this way and like interpret it this way. Think of it more creatively. Like, it's that kind of vibe. So for me, it was like, it was easy for me to like, okay, I can pretend to care about this, but I don't really care about this because I'm not in the mood for this. So for me, I guess it worked out well, but if you're really in the mind to actually like get something out of this experience, I would say no, not really. But I was okay with it because I was much more excited about the fact that I'm in London. So I took advantage of the free time I had because I only had classes 3 times a week, and the 3 times I had were like only 1-hour sessions, so I had a lot of time on my hands. So I took that opportunity to like experience the culture in London and look around a lot and buy things. I'm like, I wasted a lot of money here. But I don't regret studying here. I think it changed me a lot as a person. And one of the things I really appreciate about my experience here is that when I was in Vancouver, I only projected my future in Vancouver because I thought that was the most realistic choice. But after staying here, I think I got more ambitious. I like, oh, the life here is so great. The architecture is so great. Like, even if I was like very poor and I have to like survive instead of living here, I think I would much prefer to live in London rather than in Vancouver because the architecture, the history, the vibe is just so wonderful. And even though I don't live in like the heart of London, I live in kind of like an hour drive away from central London. So I live in Peckham. I don't know what the vibe is with Peckham. Like, some people say it's like good for like shopping, but personally I haven't noticed anything good here. It's kind of ghetto and sketchy, to be honest, but it's okay. With 1 hour of bus, I can just go to downtown London and look around, so I was good. And also I live in a dorm, so it's super safe here. Okay, so back to how the class went. So as I told you, it's very loose. And so I would have to go to class only 3 days a week. And it's not that those classes are like a teacher stands in front of it and they're like, they have this topic they want to talk about and they're like delivering it to you. It's more much like workshops where students come together and they just like, the teachers stand behind and like the students have to come into groups and they share how their progress is and we give each other feedback. So it's much more like student organized rather than like teachers giving us information. So personally, I didn't really like that. I'm not used to that kind of teaching learning environment. And another thing is that instead of us directly instead of directly communicating with the instructor, so there would be this main instructor that tells us about the whole assignment, and there would be like several tutors. I thought tutors meant like a person who was a slight older than me, but here the tutors are like just kind of regular teachers, but I guess they're like in the lower position. I don't know. We would have tutors, and each tutor would manage like 7 students. And we would go talk to them. We would have like one-on-one tutor sessions with the tutor. And we would share our progress and they would give us tips on like how to move forward and if our progress is good, and they would give us advice such and such. So the whole learning thing, it's very self-directed. You have to be motivated. You have to put in the work to actually gain something out of it. And even then, like, if you put in all the work yourself, then are you truly getting something out of the school? I don't know. And beyond those, so I've said we only have mandatory classes 3 times a week, but during the other days, we would have workshops and clubs, but I never went to any of them. I just never ended up doing that because I would get emails like telling you, oh, we have this club this week, and then we have like lithography signups and such, but my sleep schedule never ended up matching with those, and even when I signed up, I would just forget about it, and I would not be in the energy or in the mood to go into those workshops. So I never ended up going to any of the workshops or clubs. But that's okay. That's okay. It's already over. And probably like they weren't even relevant to what I was learning. They were like lithography and like another stuff, but they were not really relevant to what I was learning. And because I was learning illustration, I was like doing digital stuff. So I don't have really regrets for that. So, but if you wanted to, I guess you could sign up and learn something out of it. But what I heard from friends was that even if you sign up, you just get an induction of how the whole process, how the room works, like how to use certain machines, such and such. But the rest of the time, you're just doing individual directed stuff. So you would draw whatever you want. Everything's self-led here. That's what I don't like about it. It's not like... So to break it down, Mondays and the weekends and Mondays were always like free times. They were always day off. We had nothing there for school. And Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays, those are the days to watch out for, because usually those days we have like workshops or meetings or tutors or like certain kind of thing. Like we have something to be in school for. And then Wednesday is usually, I never had anything there because I never went to like clubs or workshops, but Wednesdays we would usually have comic clubs, but I don't know how that works because I never went to one. So as I told you, we went through 2 units, and here you don't choose your own courses. We just get assigned based on what major you're on and what year you're on. So I was in unit 7 and 8 because I was in second year. And okay, I don't know where I was going with that. I don't have anything much to add about that. So, would I recommend? Only if you're like financially stable and if your parents can help you through this exchange journey, because the dorm cost is really expensive. It's £300 a week, not a month. A week, 300 pounds a week. So it's like, oh, you can feel your bank account getting low every week. But for me, my parents helped me with the dorm cost, but the rest I have to deal with my own money. So I'm very much poor right now. And yeah, so for me, even though I said like I didn't really get out of the learning experience, if I had the option to go back in time and decide if I wanted to do the exchange or not with this knowledge, I would still choose to go to exchange here, because this is a whole new experience for me. It's my first time living abroad alone, especially in a big major city like London. It's so romantic. It's so aesthetic. I especially love that I got to actually live here rather than like travel like a tourist. So I would have some days where I could just relax in my dorm and not feel guilty of not going out, because each day is so precious. If I was like traveling, I would have only limited number of days that I could stay there. So I would go out every day. But while I was here, I would have 4 months, so I could just chill in my bed for some days and just go out some days, balance it out. And that made the experience more unique and more impactful for me. I'm never gonna forget my exchange experience here in London. So that's that. So I'm just gonna tell you what I got out of it. Number 1, I got to travel Europe for cheap. I went to Italy and then France and Italy. Yeah, like the flight tickets were like under £70. In Canadian money, that's like double the cost, so I guess it's not that expensive, not that cheap, but still, this was my first time like planning things on my own, like going to a foreign country and like traveling by myself. So that was very unique, and I had the comfort that I could always come back to my dorm and relax. It was not like, oh, I'm stranded on this foreign land. I went to Paris before class started, so like from January to the second week of February. So that blank time I went to Paris. And then, as I told you, after unit 1, there's this blank period of like 2 weeks and a half of nothingness, and then the second unit starts. But during this time, I went to Italy. That was great. And then after that, after class ended, the class ended prematurely. So the whole unit ended at the 3rd week of May. And after that, until June 20th, I have like a month left. So during that time, I went to Paris again, just to experience again, because I like the city of lights and that kind of stuff. So yeah, a lot of travel that I can do for Europe, because like growing up, like traveling Europe was always one of my bucket lists. So I'm glad that I could clear that off my list. And like buying things, it's kind of funny, because when I first came here, I was like very concerned with what I ate, and I would go to the grocery store and like try to buy multiple like fresh ingredients, that kind of stuff. But I've kind of devolved into like buying stuff in the morning just when I felt hungry, because I never ended up going grocery shopping. So I would just go to the supermarket and pick up some like random things like cereal or like yogurts, that kind of stuff, just to satiate the hunger. And then I would go out in downtown London and just like have lunch there, like something cheap like a sandwich. So it kind of devolved. I would not cook anymore. And even the days that when I cooked, I used to have like kimchi and then white rice that I would, and kimchi and white rice that would be microwavable. And then also meat. I would eat cow meat. What do you call it? Steak? Yeah. So that would be my usual meal for the day. And I would have another option where I would eat. I'm kind of like ranting here. Like, you guys can like stop the video if you like, but I feel like talking today. Or I would eat white rice with egg and sesame oil and then soy sauce. So that would be my kind of like makeshift rice stir, that kind of stuff. But the situation devolved into where I could no longer afford or like wanted to pay for white rice, because those are kind of expensive. Those kind of packets of individually packed white rice where you would microwave it and it would be instantly ready. You wouldn't have to like cook rice and get a rice cooker yourself. So those were getting kind of expensive for me. So I devolved in like I had to resort to going to the cheapest supermarket here, which is like I don't know how to pronounce it, like Lidl. Anyway, I would go there and buy 12 pack of just white buns, and then I would replace 2 buns as my white rice. And that would end up being cheaper. So yeah, what I ate here really kind of devolved. So yeah, so I kind of went on a sidetrack there, but I really appreciate that I got to relax and just experience living in London. One of my favorite activities was to go into like vintage shops or like record stores. There's so much great music in like 80s and 90s, the British music scene. So I got to get into that a bit more, and I bought a lot of CDs here, and I don't regret it, because that whole CD, like even with regular music, you make a lot of connection with what you were experiencing when you were listening to that music. So buying CDs when I was here of the music that I discovered while I was here, I feel like that's like a much more meaningful memorabilia to remember my times when I was studying here in London. So I bought a lot of CDs, visiting record stores. Yeah, being a Londoner, I guess. Another thing I learned is experiencing the world is really bigger than I thought. When I was in Vancouver, we all know like the world is bigger than we think. But in Vancouver, I always imagined my future being in Vancouver. So I would like find a job there and like try to work as an artist, like a freelance artist or something like that in Vancouver. But then coming to London, I realized, oh, like London is so much cooler and like so much cool architecture here. So I'm like, oh, if I'm ambitious enough, I could like potentially work here and like make my future here, and that would be so amazing. So this is one of the realizations I had, like it opened my mind to the possibilities I could have. So if I really curate and like focus on what I really want for my job, I could potentially work in London, and that would lead to so many like other new different roads, like having to again like travel to Europe easily. So that's another realization. I could potentially work in London, like realizing I have the ambition to work hard enough to like potentially work here someday. And I guess a little stuff. I guess the tiny little stuff that I learned is like the British accent. I'm not perfect at it. I just this is just something I picked up while I was like living here, so it's not like convincing, I believe. But it's fun because when I go back to Vancouver, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, tell me, did you learn any like British accent? Can you speak in a British accent now?" So I could be like, "Oh, of course I can. So what do you want me to say?" Something like that, just to like entertain my friends. And lastly, I really like that I got to discover new music again. I'm bringing this up again, but this is one of the major things that I will remember my time in London for, the music that I discovered. I discovered the Smiths, my favorite band, the Smiths, and The Cure, and David Bowie. I got to rediscover him, even though I knew him before. I really got to get into that discography. And then a bunch of little other artists like Joy Division, that kind of stuff, like all the other related alternative rock bands. I really got into rock this time. I feel like I really matured and like have a better music taste than everyone else. So yeah, that's about it. Even though I don't think I learned much like practical art information from school, I still don't regret it. I've really enjoyed my time in London here, and I'm really sad that I have to go back. It's like I'm devolving by going back. I was so good here. The times were so good here, and I have to go back. I'm never gonna mentally recover. But I really enjoyed my time here, like the music that I discovered. So yeah, that's about it. Let me give you like a quick clap of applause if you stayed until this point of the video. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. I'm just really sad I had to go back. But TMI, I'm going to Lana Del Rey concert soon in Cardiff, so I'm gonna go on a day trip there and go to Manchester to see like the Smith spots. That's where the Smiths came from, so I want to go to the major spots where I could like be a Smiths fan. I'm like being stupid right now. Oh, like just to talk about another thing, I have this one video I made and when I was in Florence and I went to see David, and that video kind of blew up. I think the thumbnail and the title kind of made the video attractive, so I got a bunch of clicks from that. The like to view ratio is so off. I feel like people clicked it and like immediately went out because like they feel like it's clickbait and it's not, the video is not that entertaining. But most of my videos are not for the public, it's just for my enjoyment. I genuinely like making videos to capture the moment, what I was going through, and like because I was traveling and I use copyrighted music, so I don't make money out of it anyway, so whatever. I got a lot of views from that, so I just wanted to mention it. It's kind of scary, so I turned the comments off. You could check that video out. It's called Checking Out David with the eye emoji. Anyway, not much to say. So the video is gonna end now. Bye.